I'm joined by Moose today. We're going to be talking a little bit about what's going on in Impact Wrestling, or as the big news came out last week, TNA Wrestling and IPWF. First and foremost, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Another beautiful day in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. What are you doing in Oklahoma City?
That's where home is for me.
Oh, okay. What I should have said what brought you there, because I know you spent some time in Atlanta. You lived in the South for a while, or you?
Yeah, I lived in Atlanta for about 11 years, and then I moved to Orlando and lived there for about 7 years, and then decided to move to Oklahoma City.
Nice. Let's talk about TNA Wrestling. That was the big news after Hard to Kill, or I'm sorry, after Bound for Glory. Starting at Hard to Kill, TNA Wrestling is officially back, but you have to be thrilled about this probably more than most people, because not only were you part of the company when the name was still around, but self-proclaimed TNA Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, and you were a sanctioned champion. Like you were TNA, like keeping the name alive, literally and figuratively, for a few months on Impact Wrestling television. So how excited are you that this is actually coming to fruition now?
I mean, that's why I tell you guys I'm the pro wrestling god, because people prayed for the birth of TNA, and me being a generous God, I gave it to him. I mean, I foresee this happening when I was walking around with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Everybody was telling me that I'm a clown, I'm an idiot, that's not real, TNA is dead. But I knew what was going to happen down the road, because I saw it, because I'm a pro wrestling god, you know. And now I get to laugh at all those idiots' face that laughed at me when I had that title around my waist. And January 13th, I go into Hard to Kill, um, wrestling Alex Shelley for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and I plan on beating his ass and leaving Las Vegas the new TNA Wrestling World Champion, which makes me the two-time TNA Wrestling World Champion.
Uh, you brought up a great point there with I think Alex highlights it too. Both of you have been around the different parts of TNA's history. You've spent time in TNA and Impact. Obviously, he's the champion now. Not only were you TNA World Heavyweight Champion, but you've also been Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. So, in what ways do you want TNA to be different than the original, or what sort of things do you want from the Impact Wrestling, or the I'll call it the Scott D'Amore era? What sort of things do you want to carry over into the new TNA?
Honestly, to answer your question, I think the company is going to be different. It's never going to be the same. I mean, we have a way different roster than it was 10, 15 years ago when TNA was actually in the prime of the company. In fact, we have a way different roster than when I signed the TNA. There's no AJ Styles walking around our locker room. There's no Samoa Joe, no Christopher Daniels, no Kurt Angles. I mean, you have me, you have Eddie Edwards, you have Josh Alexander, you have Alex Shelley. You have Trinity, Jordan Gray. So it's a different roster. One thing I can say is this roster that we have now is way more gelled and way tighter, and there's more of a togetherness with us as a core than it was back then, than it is in any professional wrestling company. And I think us changing the name to TNA is just a big boom to the wrestling business and a big boom in morality boost. Even though our morality is already 100% excellent, it just booms it up to like maybe 150%, if you know what I mean. So
Mm-hmm.
I think for people who is expecting a big change, oh my God, us changing the TNA. I mean, we're still gonna provide you the best wrestling in professional wrestling. You're still gonna see a bunch of guys in our locker room who works 110%. You're still gonna see guys in our management who work 110% to put out the best product in pro wrestling. And that's what you're gonna get starting January 13th.
Well, one thing that is carrying over that I would like to see continue in the new era, the Feast or Fired match. That was a TNA staple. Didn't get it the past few years, but you've actually been the world title briefcase holder for the past two matches. So
Yeah.
obviously you're going into Hard to Kill and you want to win the title, but is there a match like that you want to see come back? Maybe it's King of the Mountain, anything from the, as far as that aspect of TNA that you want to see stay, stick around. Ultimate X is another staple.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously some of the matches that you had in TNA, I would like to see that. I mean, we were supposed to, believe it or not, we were supposed to have a King of the Mountain match pre-COVID, but COVID messed that whole idea up. So
Mm.
that would be something I would like to see happen again. Obviously I forgot what the name of the match is. It's not the Ultimate X, but it was a match. It had something to do with the X, and it was I remember AJ Styles wrestled Rhino in it.
Elevation X.
Elevation X. I would like to see that come back, and obviously everybody's favorite Lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to the day that we call a pay-per-view TNA Lockdown. That was probably my favorite as a kid watching. Not a kid because I was grown. I was playing in the NFL when I was watching TNA. When I remember watching TNA from the very start, Lockdown was probably one of my favorite pay-per-views. So I'm excited for them to bring that back.
That
And
one probably.
I'm probably the only one in our locker room. It's probably me and maybe six other guys in our locker room who's been in a Lockdown match. So a lot of people don't know what a Lockdown match is, except for maybe myself, EY. I don't even think Eddie Edwards has been in one. Frankie Kazarian and Alex Shelley and Saban and myself are probably the only people in that locker room who's been in the Lockdown match. So
I'm surprised that hasn't come back yet, even if it's like a one-time deal or like the whole entire. It used to be every match on the show was in a steel cage.
yeah.
I'm surprised that one hasn't come back because I've talked to a few of the knockouts that said the same thing. Like they'd love to get that chance. That's like the one, because we've had Queen of the Mountain matches. We've had all different like knockout variations on some of the old TNA matches. So hopefully the more of you that talk about it, the better chance it has it coming back, I think.
I mean, there's a chance it'll come back because in my tenure with Impact Wrestling, I came in when it was TNA, and then we switched to the Impact Wrestling maybe a year into my tenure, and I've been in two of those matches, Lethal Lockdown. So I would love to have that match come back. It's definitely a great match. It's a match that's is a huge selling point for fans and to get them to buy tickets. So that's definitely a match I'm looking for it to come back.
We've talked before about sort of your physical transformation. You've credited working with EC3 for helping you sort of see the results. I know you've worked at the dungeon with Natalya, I believe. How did that aid you? Because you were pretty straightforward as far as how EC3 helped you. How did working with Natalya and just being in a different environment like that sort of help you get to the next step where like you're seeing the physical results, but what sort of bridged the gap between what you were doing before and like what you learned in that environment?
Oh man, I'm for people who know me, I'm always willing and looking to see what I could add to in my toolbox to be a better pro wrestler or just be a better human. And I've got trained by some of the best trainers in the world, with Scott Demore being the main one. And when I had a chance to meet Natalya and TJ Wilson, which they're great human beings, and we ultimately became very good friends. And just learning from those two, before TJ's neck injury cut his career short, I always believed he was one of the best in-ring performers out there. And same thing with Natalya. If you ask me who was one of the best um, female wrestlers in the world, Natalya is always going to be in my top three. And just to get a chance to go in the dungeon and train with those guys and be a sponge and learn how they view things and how they do things is it's been a pleasure for me. And I mean, you could definitely see some of the things I've learned in the dungeon in my matches the past year and a half. So yeah.
Who's your other two in the top three?
My other two in the top three. Ask me that question another day, but Natalya is definitely up there. I'll say Natalya, maybe Jordan Grace. And it's a tie between Deonna Purrazzo and maybe Charlotte Flair.
Okay. Usually it's Mount Rushmore. It probably would have made it a lot easier, but you said three. So, all right. So I have a couple more questions. I know we're running short on time, but I do want to talk about IPWF. It's coming back as we're recording. It's coming back this weekend. DJ Too Large is a big part of that. How much fun is it getting a chance to sort of step out of this persona that you've created as Moose for Impact Wrestling, getting to sort of explore the lighter side of wrestling?
Honestly, I use this opportunities to show everybody and show the world, and even show our locker room that I could do it all. I could be serious wrestler. I could be entertainment wrestler. I could be the guy who makes you laugh and want to pee your pants, or I could be the guy who physically makes you pee your pants by beating you up. So I could do it all. I take pleasure in that. And I think there's a selling point to these shows. You get to see some of your favorite superstars at Impact TNA Wrestling act, show their range of different characters that they could play. Some being goofy, some being off the walls. Like you're gonna see a lot of oh my goodness moments, which doesn't necessarily mean a wrestling move you take, but a character somebody's playing. So I'm looking forward to going to Toronto, getting on a plane on Friday, and being a part of IPWF. I think this is number 4 we have done, and I'm looking for. This is my favorite time of the year, being DJ Too Large. One, I don't have to take a lot of crazy bumps. Two, I just have to act a fool and dance and rap and entertain the fans. So I'm looking forward to it.
Last question before I get you out of here. You've been working with Brian Myers a little bit the past few months. Has it influenced your action figure collection at all?
We're working on that. I haven't been. I mean, I do have one action figure which he gifted me, and it's of my favorite athlete of all time, Russell Westbrook, and that's the only action figure I have. But yeah, working with Brian Myers, man, it's been a pleasure. Brian Myers is so underratedly good, and he doesn't get the credit of how good of a performer he is. And I'm so happy for the last few months. We've become really good friends, probably one of my best friends. And I've been a sponge learning a lot from him, because there's a lot of things that he does in the ring that I never even thought of that I could add to my game. So just working with him for the last few months has been a pleasure of mine. And I mean, just right there, we've made a bond trip and a friendship that will last forever.
I'm happy to hear that it's going so well. It's been fun watching you guys get a chance to work together, and thanks for your time. It was good catching up, and enjoy the weekend as DJ Too Large.
Thank you.